Hello and welcome to another episode of We're Not Nerds. Today we're talking about another VR game we just played, which is called A Chair in a Room, Greenwater, if I got that right.
Yes.
But without going into spoilers first, what was the general idea of the story that we got
So
from
the
it?
general idea is you start out as your main character's in a mental institute. Like
Your name is John Doe. It's
your
on
name
your,
is
you have a
John
little wristband.
which you can actually
You
hold
can
up.
actually, I think it's pretty
Yeah.
cool. But
At Greenwater Institute.
Yeah, so you're in an insane asylum and you can't remember anything. Your basic objective is to piece together like your past memories in order to find out what happened, what's been going on with you.
Right.
Yeah, there's Post-it cards, there's figurines, there's a cross above your bed.
Yeah, it's like it's your little insane asylum room. I thought the mechanism to get your memories back was cool, and because it added a puzzle to it where you had to, and you were much better at this than I was. It took me a while to get it, but you realize it gives you a little hint, something about something about a murder, and you go, oh, that's the crow. What was the other one with the vulture?
There's a vulture, that preys on the weak. There was a pelican.
Light spoiler territory here, but these are the kind of puzzles that are in it.
Yeah, usually most of these games, and including this one, when you pick up the right item, it will give you a little hint, musically wise, like a little.
You're right.
Yeah, I did really like the physical manipulation, how you can like physically pick up the objects and you can manipulate them in order to determine because some of the notes you have to pick up and bring them closer to you to help you read a little bit better, or some objects will give you hints or clues on how to solve the puzzle physically, because some of the mechanics, say for instance when we had to do like a lock and key or do the tumble lock, that one was a little bit difficult unless we actually had the object to help us.
And in that sense, it actually reminded me of the gallery. That's the one we played. We actually don't have the video out yet, but it will be. But the one where you're going through the sewers and you're on the beach and everything else. So it had the same feel to me of, I actually get to pick up and manipulate an item. I get to hold that newspaper up close to my face. I get to hold up a flashlight to look around a room and everything else. And it's been my favorite mechanic so far as making it seem real.
Missing child and more pills. Oh boy, yeah, that's a lot of pills.
And those newspaper articles are important. You do want to read them because they do help you understand what's going on a lot better than because you only really need to pick it up in order for the game to realize the ding and continue onward. But you do want to read these.
And the scenery was cool too. So you're in an insane asylum, but because of the flashbacks, you're near a lake or the bayou or whatever it was.
Swamp, yeah. You're
on the little boat for a while. It takes you into some different buildings, all kind of small spaces, but a lot of the motel. I actually didn't play that one, but that looked like one of the coolest because there's
it was creepy and it had a lot of atmosphere.
Yeah, a lot of atmosphere to it.
I really enjoyed it.
And the entire game had a lot of atmosphere.
That's what I was going to say. The whole thing was about atmosphere. It really set a tone like I'm in this small space. I was watching YouTube play for a while. Then I said, I'll try for a little bit. And just going from looking at the TV to being in that space, it changes the entire feel of it. So
because when the way I see it is when you're playing a horror game as opposed to actually watching the horror game. With the Vive, you feel like you're part of the game. It's that vulnerability you have because rather than watching your character or play through the eyes of your character, you are the character, and it adds not only immersion but it's the fear factor.
And it's the fear factor of not swiping your mouse around to look 180 degrees, but looking over your shoulder and something could be standing there or coming at you, or
it's coming
a weird
at you.
Noise coming from behind
not
you.
Not at your character, you.
Yeah.
You know what? If someone wants to take over, I'm a little scared right now.
Okay, we're here. It's okay. Are you serious?
Yeah. The interesting thing about this game is that there's no teleporting involved. So, anywhere that in the room, you can just kind of walk to. And so...
Yeah, it was set up really well for room scale. So there's been a couple of different ways that VR's handled room scale on the Vive so far. That's been teleporting. Other games, you can just kind of move around, like on the Oculus or something, you just use the Xbox controller. But this one, they made it so each room fits in your room scale room if it's large enough, and we had no issues. And what I really liked, and I
Mostly
noticed,
no issues.
right, mostly no issues. Well, we unfortunately made our room a little. We made it the right size until we decided to sit within that space, and we got kicked a couple times.
Yeah, my foot was stomped on.
So I've noticed that quite a bit. The room scaling has a lot of issues when it comes to rooms that are designed like it seems the scale would be larger than your actual play space.
Right.
So to counteract that, the game sort of speeds up your player movement. And when you're moving faster than you're actually physically moving, it can feel a little nauseating.
I didn't notice that.
I didn't notice that either.
I've only noticed it maybe once or twice
Okay.
in like some of the rooms that were designed to be a little bit bigger.
Yeah, I didn't notice that at all.
Yeah, me neither.
But the first thing I noticed was, and I thought this was a clever way to do it, was when you walk up to a door and you move through that door, it reverses it. So obviously you're walking to the edge of your play space. You're facing a wall. You open a door. It turns the next room around. So if you're facing north, now you're facing south.
Yeah.
So then you have to turn around and move into the next room, and you're walking back into your play space.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's
So,
also in
it's a
sense,
smart way to do it.
Yeah, I also really like how just because some rooms are laid out differently than the ones you previously were in. So in order to match that, the game tells you to step on a certain point just to
Yeah.
get in.
That was
room.
the other thing. And to me, that was a little bit immersion breaking, right? It was really cool when it just reverses the room.
I
mean,
needed the immersion break, honestly.
yeah.
It gets a bit.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good thing. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. But I did notice that there's a few places where, you had to move to that space.
Let's go back outside again. Not looking forward to this. Okay, I guess I have to stand over here.
Why?
Because there's feet on the floor.
It was two clever ways to deal with it compared to having to do teleporting.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you, the teleporting, it works, but it does break the immersion a little bit. Like just playing the lab, all of a sudden you go, oh, I want to get over to that game, and you have to, jump across because you realize you're at your wall. So this was a cool way to almost avoid this idea that, you're in a limited space. So there's some spoiler territory we could get into, but because that's actually some stuff I want to talk about. Was there anything?
Yeah.
I would just say like our rating real quick. If it was out of 5, what would you give it?
Shoot, I'd say probably like a 3.
Really?
Just because my biggest issue with the game is a lot of the puzzles are very vague in how you complete them.
Which could be good to some people.
To some extent, it really depends on the person. Like, say for instance, you have a lot better time actually solving the puzzles than me or Tom did.
Yeah.
Half the time it felt like I was trying to brute force my way through a puzzle. Like literally you just pick up every object until a sound cue plays, and then that's when we know we are good to go.
What'd you give it?
Well, I have a hard time with horror in general. So in general, for me, I'm going to give it a rating off of what like the general game, not just based off of like how it felt to me. 5 stars. I mean, for people who like
Out
the
of 5?
Yeah, for people who enjoy the horror, who enjoy the puzzle solving, I think it's a 5 out of 5. For me, I won't be playing it again, especially alone. But that's just because I'm scared of horror things.
Yeah, we should say there were a few places where we all kind of jumped.
Yeah,
so it definitely
I
has
screamed.
that.
I screamed,
Yeah,
people.
it is like being in a horror movie. If you watch a horror movie and you're waiting for that person to come around
Yeah.
the corner so they jump out, you're in
Yeah.
it this time though, right? It's so.
And you
there's
don't
definitely some
expect
of
it
those
to
moments.
happen too. You just turn around and bam, and just like,
Yeah.
ugh.
Yeah, there are some times where, however, when you do have the jump scare moments, it's obvious like a scripted moment where you can't get past this point until you turn around and
Yeah.
experience the jump scare.
And that's what I was gonna say. I thought it was great for the smaller amount I played. I'd probably give it 4.5 out of 5. And a lot of that is as a VR experience, right?
Yeah.
When we're rating these things, if this was just sitting at your screen with mouse and keyboard,
It would have been a lot
game.
less,
but
yeah.
it's about you have to factor in the VR
Yeah.
aspect of
Yeah.
it. I think it's one of the best things for VR so far. I
Yeah.
think that the gallery, what is it called, the Starseed? Whatever it's called. I'll put it up here when I remember. But I thought that one was great as far as actual immersion, picking up items, solving some puzzles.
I found the puzzle solving was really fun.
Yeah.
That's just my kind of game,
The
though.
room
Yeah.
scaling definitely did help.
And that helped a lot. That was smart too. My only issue with and you sort of mentioned it, Nathan, was I felt like some of the puzzles I wanted to be very logical and go, I should be able to use this tool to break this lock and do this. And it kind of wanted you to play around with the scene until it gave you that hint of the music and kind of
Yeah,
what was going to happen. But it did build up the suspense, and I noticed that as a mechanic, just like in a movie where it's really quiet and it's going on so long, you're like something's going to happen, you get antsy. By the time you were playing that last scene, I was feeling that. Like, they're actually doing this intentionally to build up the suspense, and they're using this idea of you don't know what to do next, so that you get kind of complacent in the scene, then all of a sudden something happens and it freaks you out, opposed to everything being thrown at you really quickly.
Yeah.
So I think some of that was intentional, but I agree. I kind of felt like I wanted to logic my way through everything. Now, to be fair, you logicked your way through a lot that I wish,
Yeah.
you know. So
I just logicked differently.
To be fair, I don't want to make it sound like these aren't good puzzles that don't require logic. I think they do.
It's just some things are a little
had to
bit more.
wait.
Yeah, some things are a little bit more spelled out than others. Some of the puzzles I felt like it was just like that one random item out of like a whole mess of garbage that you overlooked.
That's what happened to me in that first room when you started playing last week.
Yeah.
I had been stuck in that room for a while. You picked up a pizza box or something, and it triggered that next event.
Yeah.
And once you understand that's how the game works, you know to play around with everything, right?
Yeah.
I felt that tonight when I was in that room where. Not to give anything away, but
read the posters, read the newspapers. There are hints in there as to
take
what
it
you're
slow.
supposed to do.
Yeah, enjoy the kind of area you're in and just kind of soak in the atmosphere and just realize
Yeah.
it's you're not going to power through it. So
Yeah. However, I feel like my biggest offender would be the room that you guys were playing through that was incredibly dark and like you could only see like a very small portion of your.
and
I
again,
do not like the dark
If that annoys
rooms.
you, sure, but at the same time, it's obviously very intentional. So you had to have
Yeah.
that little light and you're moving it around.
Yeah,
and,
it's the
you know,
suspense,
the
you
shadows are
know.
out there.
When something could be in the dark and you don't know, which is why I don't like the dark rooms, because you know there might be something there, and sometimes there was something there.
Is that head there before?
No.
Is that a new head?
Yes.
Oh God, there's something inside that.
What is it?
Did it tape?
What is that? Is that pills?
Hard to see.
Take
It's a battery.
For the lantern or for the?
Oh, this is creepy, you guys. Okay, so I think we're all similar. Maybe not as much your style, but
Yeah, I love horror games, but my there are this feels really kind of gimmicky with the Vive. Like the game's pretty good. It builds a lot of good atmosphere, and some of the scares are genuinely terrifying. But my biggest issue is it relies way too much on the jump scares.
And do they have as much to do with the plot? So we're gonna get on to spoilers now, 'cause
Yeah.
I think we got to talk about some of that.
Spoilers. Spoilers.
I don't 100% understand the plot yet.
Yeah,
Let's start with
it's
that.
very confusing.
From what little I could gather, I assume that your character is, I believe, searching for his brother, and he was trying to find as much evidence as much as he could. And I guess you stumbled upon the the insane asylum, and I guess the doctor there was
Dr. Green,
Yeah, the Dr. Green, who was responsible for your brother's death, did not want you poking around. So I guess they administered you into the institute.
Was that what?
Was that your brother hanging from the tree?
I assume
Yeah.
so.
That we saw hanging?
I don't know if he killed himself or
And
if
what
he
about
was.
the missing girl that we kept seeing?
I went through. This is my thoughts. One, where this is really cool because we're a murderer and we don't remember it because of
That's
this
what I thought.
medication.
Yeah, that's what I
and we're
thought
trying
was
to figure
going
out
on.
what we did, and that
Yeah.
made it creepy to be playing the murderer. For example, in that apartment or the hotel scene that I didn't play, you had a little scare there where you like ducked, like there's a cop out there, he's looking for me.
Yeah,
I'm like, this is cool.
Hello?
What was that?
Where are you? Hear footsteps. Is there someone over there?
Yeah, there's a guy right there with the gun.
We're at the Pelican Motel now.
Police.
We need to check every room one by one.
That was cool.
Properly
We actually got
road.
freaked out.
I'll make sure that no one finds the trouble.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty damn cool because when the cop comes up to you, I thought like he was gonna actively look into your vicinity.
I mean,
so
you drop to like your knees kind of thing. Like I got to get down, and that's what makes a Vive awesome, right? When you're watching someone play and they drop, and you're like, what is it? And you're like, there's a cop out there. So that was really cool. But I went from that we're the murderer to then I thought we were in purgatory.
Yeah,
By the end, I'm like,
we-
we're in purgatory.
We
That's
were
what's
the
going
dead
on.
kid, yeah.
We're the dead kid, and we killed ourselves. And that's why we're hanging from the tree, right? And then we got to the scene where there's this whole thing with the doctor at the end, and it's like, okay,
So
did we find the dead body?
Yeah, and then
did we?
she's like, saying, we're going to give you more pills to sedate you.
And then we killed the doctor. And now, like you're saying, was that our brother? Because something with a brother came up. So I
And
almost
then
need
the dead kid popped up, and then we see her dead. And then did we kill her? Did we?
to right. So I almost think I need to like play it again.
I
Yeah.
think if we all give like a from start to finish playthrough, each one of us, we might find
Piece
better.
it together.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
might make better sense of the story because it is.
Read the articles more closely.
Yeah, it is really
That too.
vague and
Yeah.
can get a little confusing from time to time.
Well, when I thought it was purgatory is when you were in the jail cell, which seemed like a jail cell, and you're reading the postcard that was like mom, dad, and your brother.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, we're the kid. And then you were the kid, and I went,
Yeah,
we're in
and I thought we
purgatory.
were the kid too. And then wait a second, now we're here. Are we changing bodies? Are we? What's
Right.
going on here? Why are we in a jail cell?
And that's where I think, Nathan, you're kind of right. Some of the jump scares were like, so one of the best ones was you were playing, you're in
When-
the bathroom, the fog.
oh yeah, when we were
Oh, that was the first jump scare.
That was a man nailing it, hitting on the head, going.
that
Yeah.
I felt like because it was like the first jump scare that we had like that.
Yeah.
I feel like it hit the nail on the head because you're trying to get out of the room and then you start hearing noise and you start hearing the atmosphere
And I
build.
think I said, oh, I think you just need to turn off the water. Maybe turn off the water. First.
And then I turned around and holy shit!
Was it a mirror?
Well, wasn't there? You opened the cabinet. So close it.
And the steam.
Oh, smart thinking.
Amanda's so much better at this.
I'm really good at puzzle solving.
320.
Is there a last number there? Was it only 3-digit code?
I'm fairly certain. Let's go find out.
Well, even if you had to guess the last one, it's only, that gets it down to.
Come on, open the door.
You need to turn the water off first. Got yourself locked in.
Seriously?
Yep.
Oh!
Jesus Christ, dude.
That was amazing.
It was like this dead girl in the bath. Or,
But what
just-
did it mean though? So that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Now some of it seems gimmicky where you go, I don't 100% know how
I
this goes
don't
into
understand the girl, the
plot.
missing girls.
It reminds me of almost like Blair Witch Project. Did you guys ever see
Yeah.
that movie?
Yeah,
I
I
know it's
saw it.
probably after
No.
or before your time.
No.
But they threw all this different mythology into it. They actually did it on Red Letter Media recently. But they threw all this
Yeah.
mythology into it, and in the end, it didn't quite come together. And that's felt like this. Like there was something with the, are we the murder or whatever, and instead of it really coming together, and it's why I got to take like half a point off for that, despite loving the atmosphere. I had a little bit of, I don't quite understand how all of this works.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I mean, despite like its confusing nature and other than the really cheap jump scares, the actual story and puzzle piecing it together yourself, I think it's just a lot of fun and trying to work out the story.
I just wish I understood it in the end, though.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love the idea that maybe it's, you are the murderer, or you have multiple personality disorder, and it was your other personality that did this. Or there's different ways to do it where you keep that creepiness up. But leaving me confused, and maybe we're just dummies. I don't know.
Yeah.
But leaving me confused at the end makes me go, oh, I wish it all really came together, and I get it now. Unlike, say, I was talking about Firewatch last week. Firewatch came together. The plot in the end is like there's all this confusion. What's really happening here? In the end, it comes together, and you go, oh, I get what happened, and this all makes sense. Like it or not, you could have wanted it to end differently, but it makes sense. This one didn't quite make sense to me. So
Yeah, something I was really hoping for in terms of like, say, style, story, and puzzle solving was something sort of on Silent Hill's level.
haven't played it.
Oh, you never played Silent? It's
Me
really
neither.
good. So, Silent Hill is, well, depending on the game you play, is based around different characters. And,
There's Pyramid Head, right? I know.
well, Pyramid Head is from Silent Hill 2, I believe.
Okay, that's like the only
And,
character I know.
In that game, the atmosphere, there's really little to no jump scares. Very rarely do they happen, but when they happen, they are absolutely horrifying. Primarily because rather than relying only on jump scares, the game builds up the atmosphere to that point.
Right.
And even then, when you expect a jump scare, it doesn't happen. And that drives the atmosphere and the intensity home.
Right. Yeah. So, like you said, this had some really good jump scares. Oh, God!
What was that?
I mean, there was you dropping when you saw the cop outside. There was the one in the bathtub. There was the one in the room with the baby
deer
arm.
man.
The deer man. And you said, what is it, a deer man? And then the final one at the end where you see the body there.
Yeah.
And then you have the one at the very end.
The one the kid coming out of the dark. Right?
Yeah, and then the one at the very end. But that one almost seems
the
so
man?
cheap by the end that you didn't even get scared.
that? Who
we
was
weren't even scared.
that?
We're like, okay, I guess that's the end of the game. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
they may have overdone it a little bit. Now, the only other thing I'll say is, to be fair to it, we did all play like a third of the game roughly or something. So maybe it's harder for us to piece together. But
Yeah.
usually I think...
It's a bit harder to read when someone else
I
is
think
playing
one
on the
moment
screen.
that was genuinely like not necessarily scary, but really unsettling and creepy was when you were trying to give the priest your confessions, and at the end of it, there's a point where something about like gators and like how they're going to come and get you, and you have to peer down into the confession booth, and you can see like the yellow glowing eyes of the gator and like
But what does that have to do with the mythology of all thing too?
And we didn't see that from when we were watching you play. We couldn't see the alligator.
Yeah, it
So
was-
that's
you were
cool.
freaking out. Like what?
I just wish it all came together. I wish,
Yeah.
you know, and I don't know
true.
that it does. It tries,
That's
I
true.
think. So.
I'd like to read someone else's take on it.
Yeah,
you know,
maybe we
see
missed
what-
something. But
yeah.
put in the comments below if we're a bunch of dummies and don't,
Yeah.
didn't understand something.
Please.
But the atmosphere alone, the actual play style, the way they incorporated the room scale, and just the ability to manipulate so many objects,
Mm-hmm.
even ones you don't necessarily need, for me was like, this is a real world I get to play in. And that's, you know, it's one of the best experiences doing that so far, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so far I think this is a step in the right direction because
More like this.
more like this because right now the Vive is seriously lacking in content in terms of like full length games. 'Cause
Right.
right now they're mostly tech demos.
We got a good 5 hours out of this or something like
Yeah,
that.
good like 5 to 6 hours depending on how bad
I'm
you are at the
content
puzzles.
with that. Yeah. No, I'm content with that as an amount of game too.
Yeah, and if we have like more games like this, you know, unique story elements, really good atmosphere.
I would like to see more of this kind of room scale too.
Yeah, I think
that was fun.
I think if at least I know not every game, especially say like Fallout 4, could utilize room
Right.
scaling, but
Puzzle games like this.
yeah, I feel like puzzle games or really claustrophobic games, especially horror games like this,
Any kind of exploration. of
yeah,
rooms.
could really utilize the room scaling because having to teleport from point A to point B breaks the immersion considerably.
Absolutely. Well, okay, so that's a recommendation. Definitely worth playing if you have
Yeah.
the Vive. If you don't, you should get one.
Get one.
But no, I think it's one of the best things for Vive so far. If you haven't
Yeah.
tried it out, definitely try it. Be a little bit patient is my only recommendation, but it's a really enjoyable experience.
Play with everything. Read everything.
Yeah.
Mash your head against the wall.
I love the reading. Just the
Yeah.
ability in these Vive games or the VR to be able to pick up something and pull it to your face instead of clicking on a book and having it open up a new screen with text. Really just being able to, like, this is an object in the game with words on it is really, really cool. All right, so that's it for this episode. What are we looking at next time?
Stanley Parable.
Do you want to give a little intro to it or
Yeah,
keep it a
so
mystery?
the Stanley Parable first started out as sort of like a mod game, and eventually it was released as a full release as you've played a little bit of it. It sort of makes fun of the tropes, the very common tropes like such as player choice, rationality, morality, stuff like that, and kind of flips it on its head and presents it to the player in such a very unique and kind of comical fashion. The narrator really drives the game.
Thanks, everybody. We're not nerds for this
That's
one.
we're not words.
Arbitrary.
Nope.
Where did I drop the phone?
Idiot. You lost the phone.
I lost the plot!
Is it in the drawer? This is hilarious that you're like having to literally get on the floor to find the phone.
God damn it, guys, I dropped the plot. Where did the phone go?
Did you put it over there on the shelf?
No, I put it like right next to the phone right here. Oh, please don't tell me I lost this because of that.
It's gotta be somewhere. I mean, I guess it doesn't have to be. I guess it could have fallen through the floor.
Oh, there it is.